in Belchertown, Massachusetts, and we're at a cemetery on Munsell Street. It's called Munsell Cemetery, Munsell. And it's also called the Evergreen Cemetery because there's a big evergreen in the front of it, but the other trees are different, so maybe it was named after that. And I noticed that a lot of the stones are pointing in the correct direction, so that's a good sign. It's a fairly small, it might have been a neighborhood cemetery. Oh, what do you want to know about it?
So when was it started or built?
It was built in 1795. It's the fifth oldest cemetery in Belchertown. They have a lot of old cemeteries here. 1795 is only a decade or so after the Declaration of Independence and Revolutionary War area. So there should be some old burials in here, but a lot of this sparse. So we'll look around, see what we can find today, and we'll keep in mind those stones are pointing the right way. Okay, and there is a fence around it, and there's only one entrance, and that's towards, as you face in, is towards the left-hand side. Okay, and this is going to bring you to the modern part to start, and I bet you they have more room inside here. And so I'm backtracking, going towards the sign, Munsell Cemetery. Okay, now let's go to some of the older ones. Now these are pointing in the right direction. Moses Ward, and he died July 11th, 1845. The stone is exactly pointing towards the west, and that's what it should be. And it should have the footstones about 7 feet out, and there's no footstone here, but when it did exist, it would have pointed the other direction, and the body would be. So these stones have not been disturbed. You notice out there at a slight angle to the road, but pointing, the large inscription tablet is pointing towards the westerly direction. Right, this might be a setup of a headstone and footstone, although the footstones are extremely large. Okay, then you have a slate one, and then you have some that are just stones. Maybe they got worn out. That's quite possible. Yes, that's what happened. They got worn out so much that you can barely see that there are even gravestones there. And remember, some of these are up to 230 years old. Okay, and again, there was probably a child here. And then here, maybe this is a Revolutionary War veteran. It's hard to read it. John Maine. Okay, then this is Mrs. Bethalia. Oh, wife of John Ward. So John Ward was up there. Okay, so it's a nice little cozy cemetery. And more of the Ward family back here. And I see some candidates for footstones over there. So this headstone might have one of these as being its footstone. Okay, and at least everything's pointing in the right direction. Things are very worn out here, and there are some rocks around that are just coming up from the ground. And let's go in this section here. Everything's about 7 feet apart, like usually you'd find that, and then a row of 2 feet. So headstones were here. These are all worn out. These are probably remnants of footstones for here. And then it starts with 2 feet onwards, new headstones, and then footstones. All right, very worn out though. And this one sunk quite a bit into the ground. Okay, now I'm heading towards the back half. And in the back half you find the same thing, very small stones. Right, there might be one or a few once in a while that are upright of the 1800s, but the early 1800s and 1700 stones are probably worn to nothing. And it occurs over and over again, so they must have been using a certain kind of rock that wears out. They all seem to be field stones of sometimes not very elaborate stones at all. But at least you have them right direction, and then 7 feet away the possible footstones, and then a 2-foot gap, and then you start over another set of tablet inscriptions. Okay, over and over again. Okay, then I enter the very back here, and there's some more modern stones back here. And I'm pretty sure that this is the place that maintenance vehicles would come in. Okay. It's a dirt road, and you'd have a hearse coming this way with its trail of mourners. Alright. And they have the top portion all fenced off. Now let's see what we can find here. So it's mostly just fields of rocks that have turned to nubs. And this is probably a whole another set. It's hard to tell. So sadly, so much of this area is gone because of erosion. And a good reason why would be it's on a hill. A lot of water is going to flow down from the top there and flowing downwards. And solifluction through the soil itself pushes the stones over. And also another problem is that the water is going to be carried down and pass by all these rocks. And water and chemical erosion will happen at a greater rate when stones are on a slant like this. Okay, so very interesting cemetery. Too bad we can't figure out what a lot of these are. This one looks like a former tablet stone. And then there's 2 stones in a row that are the same here. Very hard to read. They're a triangle shape at this point. Probably they started their lives that way. Okay, so I'll do a panoramic for you from this point. And then I'll take pictures, and this site will have its own webpage. Thank you.